Good morning, friends. We welcome you on behalf of Legal Breeze, which gives you a complete update on the legal education side, of course, on the general knowledge side also. In today's program, we will be discussing about the recent amendment relating to the Essential Commodities Act, ECA, people call it ECA 2020 short. We will be discussing about the salient features of the Essential Commodities Amendment Act 2020, its implications on the economy, its constitutional validity, and its consequences or effects in the future on the farmers, consumers, and overall economy. Now let us go back to the ECA. Friends, please remember this Essential Commodities Act is a very age-old legislation. It is there right from the British era. In fact, this act has been used to suppress the Indians. Millions of people have died out of hunger, but this act has been used to lift food grains from the godowns from India to be exported for the Britishers during the wars, famine times, etc. However, after the independence, we have made this act so as to suit the constitutional requirements of our country in the year 1955. But please remember 1955 is also Indian economy has not developed to this extent. And that was a time of more and more government intervention, more public monopoly, and lesser opportunities given to the private sector. Please remember during this time, approximately under 1956, you had this Mahalanobis committee which has studied why the fruits of 5-year plans have not reached the intended beneficiaries. Out of that, we got the MRTP Act has come later on. But however, we have curbed the private monopoly, but we promoted public monopoly. But after the advent of WTO, these sort of legislations have no place in the statute book. Please remember this. People today arguing agriculture is in the state list, all these things. But for me, this is totally meaningless. Please remember, including market access for agricultural product has been a subject matter of the World Trade Organization. There is an agreement called Agreement on Agriculture, which is coming under multilateral category of agreement of Annexure 123 of WTO. Please remember this, particularly under Annexure 1 of WTO. Multilateral means it is compulsory. The moment you sign WTO agreement, whatever it has been categorized as multilateral agreements, all the agreements should be automatically applicable and binding upon the member countries of WTO, and India is one of the founder member of WTO. You may recall the present finance minister Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman happens to be the then commerce minister. She has to face opposition from the developed countries of India's program for having a huge stockpiling for our PDS system, but we have defended this successfully in the WTO ministerial meet. Now, in this backdrop, the central government assumes exclusive power, legitimacy to regulate all the activities relating to agriculture and trade of agricultural produce and products. So absolutely the state list, central list will never come into picture once a subject matter has been covered under an international agreement. That power has been granted by virtue of Article 73 to the executive and 253 to the parliament, and from entry 11 to 16 talks about all these things under the list 1 of 7th schedule, which empowers the parliament to take necessary actions so as to enforce the international commitment. Now, agreement on agriculture happens to be one of the commitment. The reforms to the agriculture sector happens to be one of the important commitment what we have made to the WTO. Now, what are the amendments in the ECA 2020. It uh, adds only a few provisions. First, it grants exemption or it delists certain agricultural products and foodstuffs. It calls it very broadly, though it doesn't define what are they, such as agricultural products, horticultural products, edible oils, cereals, pulses, etc., fruits, vegetable, etc., oil seeds, all of aforestated things will not be regulated by the central government in the ordinary circumstances. That means you can ask me whether the central government regulate the aforestated trade and commerce of the aforestated products in the extraordinary circumstances. The answer is yes. What are the grounds? The Act stipulates the following grounds: external war, famine, and extraordinary price rise, or extraordinary grave natural calamities. When the aforestated events happen, then the government can step into the shoes and they can regulate the aforestated trade and they can impose stock limit. For the imposition of the stock limit, again, there are certain exemptions. The central government cannot impose stock limit blindly under the price rise category. It can intervene only in two occasions. One, when the price rise goes beyond 100% in the horticultural products, that is perishable products, then the central government can interfere. How to calculate this cap of 100% price? A mechanism has been given in the Act itself. Please read those provisions. And 50% hike in the case of non-horticultural products, that is, which are non-perishable, such as pulses, oil, seeds, all these things, wheat, rice, all these things. Okay. Then it also gives an exemption from the imposition of stock limit to the PDS program and targeted PDS program. For the aforestated purpose, a huge stockpiling can be permitted by the government or government-based entities for the purpose of promoting PDS and targeted PDS system. And it also gives an exemption to the person who has involved or engages in the value participation chain or processing unit. It starts from the value chain starts from agricultural produce field and ends up to the consumer, that is from the up to the retail selling. It includes packaging, storaging, transportation, including exportation, all these things. Now please remember, these are all coming under the GST regime also. There is a provision under sections 35 to 39, if I am not wrong, dealing with the maintenance of records and books of accounts relating to the GST traders, that talks about what is the mechanism persons who are keeping in the warehouse, godowns, storehouses, transportation, and in the process of transit, all these things are covered. What are the books, records they have to maintain? So it brings transparency plus e-way rules. The moment you put the product in a container or put it in a transportation unit, it has to be put very transparently. It shall be made available electronically to the GST regime, as well as the relevant stakeholders such as a transporter, right, consignor and consignee, all these things. So it becomes very transparent. So this promotes the minimum government and maximum governance. Please remember, India is ranked as the largest producers, at least top 5 of many products such as fruits, vegetables, all these things. But even then there is a hunger deaths taking place. Why it is happening? There is a malnutrition because we do not have capital and technology relating to the agro infrastructure industries. Example which includes cold chain, processing, all other things. We hope that this legislation will bring the necessary technology and capital, particularly in the food processing industry. Therefore, it will stabilize the food processing industries, and it will not promote inflation, it will promote stabilization. Please remember, there is a fund called Price Stabilization Fund has been created by the then Modi government under the leadership of the able finance minister Sri Arun Jaitley, who is no more, but he has created such a nice mechanism. We hope that mechanism may also exist for the future also. Whenever the market goes, the products maintained in the public's distribution system or FCI people can be injected into the market, and the funds can also be used to neutralize the price hike. So there is a saying by a Tamil poet, தனி ஒருவனுக்கு உணவில்லையேல் இந்த ஜெகத்தினை அழித்திடுவோம். Meaning, when there is no food to a single individual, we will destroy the existing world order and we will create a new world order. We hope this law will enable the farmer, enable the trader, and enable the consumer, and enable inclusive, sustainable economic growth. It's a win-win situation. If there is any adverse consequences arises out of the implementation of this act, we hope the parliament will take care of it. Otherwise, the Supreme Court may intervene to rectify all these things. Let's hope the good sense prevail over upon the relevant stakeholders. Before I conclude, I would like to request those who are listening to this program to subscribe this channel, and I would like to thank my beloved students like Sushmita, Divadarshini, Kirtana, Aishwarya K, and there are many more people who are takes part in the value chain of production of this program till the uploading of this program in the channel. All the very best to all of you. God bless you all. Thank you. Jai Hind.